Hi there, thank you so much for joining me today. This is my finale for my 9 by November project pan. The main theme for this project pan was that I wanted to focus on some of the oldest products in my collection. I do still have quite a few products that I've purchased as early as 2016. I do have one product in here that I purchased in 2015, but I do kind of keep track of the year that I bought certain products just so I can make sure that if I need to focus on a certain product, I can focus on the oldest ones first. For the majority of these, I did have the goal of finishing them. I did do that for the majority of them, but then I did have one category of product that I knew I couldn't realistically use up a ton over the course of the project. I just wanted to reach for them a certain amount of times, and that was blush. So I chose my 6 oldest blushes and I made a goal to use each of them 25 times. And I did hit that goal on all 6 of them. So I'll go through those really quickly. The first one was from Hourglass. It's Incandescent Electra. All of these blushes I purchased in 2016, and I did use it 25 times. I knocked that goal out pretty early on in the project. Same with my Charlotte Tilbury blush in the shade Love is the Drug. Those 2 blushes were the first 2 that I focused on over the course of the project. And at the time I was focusing on one blush at a time, but then I just started to mix and match between each of the rest of the 4 blushes because I found that I wanted to use certain colors when I was using certain eyeshadows, etc. The next 4 are this matte blush here from Makeup Revolution in the shade Beloved. This is a matte cantaloupe shade, gorgeous. Especially loved wearing this in the warmer months, but I think this is also a really great winter blush too because it's very brightening, it's very pigmented. I also had this bronzer here from Urban Decay in the shade Sunkissed. It's a very orangey bronzer that I like to wear as a blush whenever I have a lot of other colors on my face and I want something that'll add a little bit of a flush without being too pink. I also pulled out this Living Doll blush from Hard Candy. Even though this is the same age as the other blushes that I focused on, I feel like this one is the one that's aging the fastest, and so I don't imagine this will survive my next declutter, which is a shame because it's not available anymore, I don't think, and it is a gorgeous color. It's very unique to my collection. I really enjoyed reaching for it while it was still good enough to use. And then the very last one is Luminoso by Milani. I really did flatten the rounded top on it a little bit just from using it 25 times, and so this might be in a project pan in the future. Maybe I can realistically use it up at some point. It is a blush that I like to pack on. I like to put a lot of it on because it is such a beautiful color, and I think these type of peachy shades look really flattering on me. So those were the 6 blushes that I had specific goals on. I hit all of them. It felt really good to focus on some of the oldest blushes in my collection that sometimes get pushed to the wayside. Now I'm going to very quickly show you the products that I had used up in past updates. I'm going to try to show you all the pictures together of them just so you can quickly see the progress. The first one is the Pure Miracle Mist. I think I was like halfway through it when I started and I just focused on it while I had it. I'm glad it's out of my collection. It's not something I would buy again. The next one is a face powder from Charlotte Tilbury. This was the Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in 1 Fair. This one I used mainly to set my under eyes, so I wasn't making super quick progress as if I was setting my whole face with it, but it was a nice powder to use on my under eyes, and I feel like it helped me get more use out of it or just make it last a little bit longer. Another one is a bronzer. This one's a huge accomplishment for me. Even though I do go through bronzers pretty quickly, I never finish large bronzers like this, and this is from Pure Cosmetics. It's the Glow Together Gradient Matte Shimmer Bronzer. This one is a limited edition product from I think 2015 or 16. I can't remember, but I think I bought it in 2016. I also finished a foundation from e.l.f. It was the Flawless Finish Foundation in the shade Light Ivory. I think I started right around the halfway mark or the 3/4 mark, and I use this as a mixer with other foundations in order to get the coverage and the color that I wanted. For my next one, it's a little bit of an exciting update, at least for me, and it's the Charlotte Tilbury Bitch Perfect lipstick. I had a goal in the project to just use it to the point where it was flat with the packaging and I couldn't apply it anymore. And then I took it out of the project, I dug it out, I put it in the little Besame powder container, and I used it as a cream blush, and I'm actually finished with it now. So this is empty, and it is an actual makeup empty. I don't have any of the product left anywhere else. So that's very exciting. I haven't used up a full lipstick in years, and I've never used up a lipstick where I dug everything out and got everything out of it. Very big accomplishment. I'm glad to have been able to finish one of them up before the end of the year. I do have another one that I'm about to put in that container, just a different shade from the Charlotte Tilbury line. And really quickly, I wanted to add the weights of some of these empty containers in case you have them and are curious of how much you need to use before it's finished. The Charlotte Tilbury lipstick container is roughly 21.4 grams, and then the Charlotte Tilbury face powder, that is 51.3 grams, just in case you're trying to use these up and you want to know what the product is taking up of the total weight. Now for my last two products that we're still holding on in my last update, I haven't finished either of them, but I think that's perfectly fine. One of them I wasn't even trying to finish, and that one is the ABH Brow Pomade, and I am so close to finishing this. I really do think a couple more months of use and this could be gone. I mean, there is a little bit on the side, but it's really just what's at the bottom, and it's very, very thin. I find that I chip away quite a bit every single time I use it because all the layers are so thin. I used up 0.3 grams of this last month. It did feel a bit dry. A couple months ago, I added like a drop or two of rosehip seed oil and it brought it back. I might do that again once or twice before fully finishing it, but I just think that's such a good deal for your money. I've had it for literal years now. And the very last one, I kind of wanted to have done for the finale, but I think I'm just gonna have to scrape out the corners and put it in a separate container in order for my brush to get it. It's the Mary Lou-Manizer Highlighter. I used up 1.3 grams of this last month, and it's because I was using it not only on my cheekbones and nose, but I was also using it on my collarbones whenever I wore tops that showed that part. I only have like the tiniest bit around the edges, and only a couple uses ago was it really difficult for me to get the product out, so I am gonna probably have to take it out, either using it as a loose highlighter powder or repressing it, which I don't really feel like doing right now, so I'll probably just use it up loose. I have never used up a highlighter this big before. I've used up the Kevyn Aucoin highlighter, but that was a very natural looking highlighter, so I could really pack it on and put it a lot of places, and it was a much smaller product. It just had less product in it, so this one is going to be a really big accomplishment. I'm really hoping I can have this done by the end of the year. I'm just going to have to be really glowy for the rest of November and December. So that's my finale. I do have two other project pan type things going on this year. I have my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, which I will be bringing back next year, and I also have the Partners in Cream, which is a year-long rolling project pan. Once again, I will be starting that again next year as well. So I will have another project pan happening next year, in addition to the two other ones where I'm focusing on just eyeshadows and cream products. And I think the premise will be the same. I'll try to focus on older products just to make sure that I'm not just letting stuff sit around and not get touched. As for the length of the project pan, I kind of do prefer seasonal project pans or just shorter term ones that are only 3 or 4 months long. Let me know what type of project pans you prefer watching. Do you like longer ones? Do you like rolling? Or do you just like the shorter term ones? But in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.